you because we're.
I know. That's what we do. That's our specialty. Just like,
It's
the movie Elf? You know the Christmas movie Elf? Have you seen that?
I do. I do know the Christmas. I have watched that every year. My stepdaughter used to be afraid of it.
Really? And it's
But
so
I would.
happy. And and you know that his favorite is smiling.
Yes, it's so easy to do. It's like it's the easiest medicine ever. Just smile.
Yes, it is.
Even when you
Yes, it
don't
is.
feel like it, I just noticed that the physical act of smiling can really shift things. And you are always all smiles, which is really inspiring. So I'm just going to share with people who are watching right now that we do these LinkedIn lives or Instagram lives. We'll be doing one with one member on YouTube exclusively for Confidently Speaking members. And Confidently Speaking is improv for speakers and so much more. We have resources there for speakers. We get practice opportunities. So if you have an upcoming presentation or a pitch, you have an opportunity to practice that in front of an audience before you get in front of the real audience. And Tina has been a member for almost 2 years.
I think over 2 years even.
Over 2 years, and I love it. It's fantastic. And so today we're going to talk about a couple of things. One we're going to talk about is Speak, because that's an upcoming event that is happening here in New York City. It's a pop-up event, and it's going to be at the Laurie Beachman Theater on October 25th, and you are speaking at it. And I am thrilled that you get to do that. So tell me a little bit about how you got involved and what inspired your talk and what you're going to be speaking on.
Okay. Thank you, Meredith, first for having me here.
Yes, of course.
So how I got involved is that I have had a long speaking journey, and it was not a very easy one, which is why I joined when I found Meredith on Clubhouse and joined her confidently speaking improv class. It was with the intention of speaking. My business coach, she says to me, I want to see you on stages. I'm like, okay. Not a very easy thing to do, but it's been a work in progress. And then last year, I wrote a book. And last year, I said to myself, my goal for 2023 is to do a TED Talk. Mm-hmm. And then I realized how difficult it was to actually get one of those. But you, Meredith, graciously invited me to speak on the one that you're hosting next week, which is a speak event. It's not a TED Talk event. It's a speak event. But you graciously invited me to speak because the topic for all the speakers next week is shelter. And that's right up my alley.
Yes, it is. And you're doing a tremendous job. And I really do hope that people who are watching who live in the New York City or tri-state area will come and see you speak on that stage. And for people who don't know what Speak is, it's a new up and coming platform for people to share their stories and their ideas. It was started by another person that I met on Clubhouse, George Andriopoulos. And so very excited to be involved in that and to be producing this. And I'm also a channel partner, which means that I can nominate people to speak for the event, which is very cool because then that means I get to pull in people that I know and respect and love to get on stages and share their stories, because stories are what change lives. That's how I feel. And you've had a great.
And that's how you invited me. That's how you nominated me. So I was very lucky that way.
Yeah. Very much. What did you say?
But I would think. But what I was going to say. My guess is that you, with all of your speaking coaching and all of your clients, and you hear all of these beautiful stories, I would think that you're a very great person to select people who fit into the Speak platform.
Yeah, thank you. And I also really want to get voices that are a little bit hesitant on stages too, because I feel that it takes just one person to pull someone up by the arm and say, you can do this, you've got this, you can get on stage, you can share your story. And that can unleash a lot for a human being. So that also gets me equally inspired and excited. And we have a wonderful lineup of speakers. We have 10 speakers sharing their inspired version of that whatever shelter means to them, and whatever that inspired in them is what they're going to be sharing story-wise. And they're incredible stories, aren't they, Tina?
Unbelievable. And I'm not even going to be able, or you and I are even going to finally be able to meet Catherine Beltran from Florida, who's going to be speaking on the stage, because we have never met her in person. We have only met her on Zoom rooms during our improv classes. And that's going to be amazing.
It is going to be.
That's very exciting.
I love it so much. I love it so much. So the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, and for people who are watching right now, I'll put all of the information. If you can attend a speak event, please come and join us. I'll put that information in the comments so that you have access to that. Tina, so we've also been talking about, and what I'm going to mention, which is a part of your story that you'll be sharing, is that you've mentioned this already, it's that you've been on this long journey where you were not on stages, you were not on podcasts, you were barely doing anything. And just before we went live, you said to me, I think I'm going to do a lounge. Like, I'm going to get up here on LinkedIn and I am going to talk about co-ops and condos, which is your specialty, by myself. And can you talk to us a little bit more about that and the work that you do?
Absolutely. So I consult co-op and condo boards on running their buildings like a business. And I can go on about that forever, because I'm very passionate about it, because boards are very overwhelmed with all the emergencies that happen. So acting in a volunteer position, in a proactive on a proactive way instead of a reactive way, only taking care of emergencies, is a difficult position to be in. So I am, besides consulting boards, I also provide a lot of free tips. And I thought to myself, when you set up your speakers lounge last month, or it was this month, but it just started, and I listen in, and I'm like, this is such a great resource for people to be able to ask questions live on LinkedIn. And I thought about it, and then I thought to myself, maybe I should have a co-host. And then I went like, yeah, then it's more like a podcast. I'm just going to have an open hour, a co-op and condo lounge once a month, to be announced when, and just answer questions that people may have, board members may have, co-op and condo owners may have, real estate agents might have, and anything in between. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm starting next week, November, but I'll announce the dates soon when we get closer.
I am just so excited. I think we are starting a trend. I think we're going to start a new LinkedIn trend. And everyone's going to have their own little lounges popping up, giving some value to people, drawing in new audience members. I love it. I'm excited. So when you announce that, let us know. And I'll also put that in the comments too, so that we can link stuff together and you can be found. And if you're not following Tina on LinkedIn already, please do. And Tina, do you have a YouTube page as well?
We do. It's under our company name. It's the Folson Group. TheFolson group group. That's what it's not .com on YouTube, right?
Excellent. Yeah. Okay. And you already have Julia in the comments has mentioned that she's a realtor in Orlando and would love to know more about the work you do with the Folson Group as well. So I think you are definitely on to something because you do add a lot of value. And because I've worked with you for a couple of years now, I know the amount of work that you've done. You've come from being a financial analyst on Wall Street to getting all of these notices that you're going to get increases in your building. You got fed up and you're like, I'm going to figure this out. And you ended up saving your building. And was it over a 2-year period of time, $350,000?
$340,000 in 3 years. And by now that building, it's millions. Yeah. For our
Which
own
is
building.
Unbelievable. And I remember you saying is that you set out at first to prove to your board in that building that you could save them $10,000 that year.
Yes.
Is that right?
That was our goal. We said, wouldn't it be cool? We went like, wouldn't it be cool if we can save $10,000? Yeah,
yeah, wouldn't it be cool? And you ended up over 3 years, it was over $100,000 each year that you saved.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it gradually increased. Okay. Because it's been increasing every year. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. No, it is fun. It is fun. And it's such a fun thing to talk about, because 30% of New Yorkers live in a co-op or a condo. So any room I walk into, if there are 100 people in a room, then 30% of them most likely live in a co-op or condo. So it's something that is very current to a lot of people. They see their maintenance increase every year. And then they hear now about all the laws that are complicating things and are going to cost buildings a lot. We're seeing Local Law 97. It's the law where New York City has a goal to become carbon neutral by 2050. And they're making it stricter and stricter, which means that you need to heat the building with something else other than oil or gas. And the fines are so large that in many buildings, we're seeing that the fines are 10% of the annual maintenance, which means that if you're paying $2,000 in rent right now, you can automatically, because of this law, it would be $2,200. Plus the regular other expenses are increasing also. So it's a big deal.
It is a big deal. So would you say that's the biggest pain point right now for people who own?
No, that is a huge pain point. There are other laws. So they're because buildings are aging. It's so when the building boom in the 50s, the first 30 years, it was not an emergency because buildings were fairly okay. But now, so many years later, so now we have 50, 60, 80 years. So these buildings are 80 to 100 years old. But the pipes inside of the walls and the electrical inside of the wiring inside of the walls, they're all original. Because how would you, even if they're not leaking, you're not going to tear up a wall to replace something that is probably corroded. Yeah.
So that's the biggest pain point.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I owned a house for a long time in Colorado that was I think when we sold it, it was 105 years old. And so that we were only the 4th owners of that house. So when we inherited it, all the plumbing, it was kind of a hodgepodge mix match of plumbing from like when it was first built until present day. But all of the sewage plumbing in the backyard was clay. It was like the old clay. And then the root systems would grow up inside it. It cost us like $15,000, I think, to have all of it removed and replaced and our backyard dug up. Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yes, it is. And digging it up in the backyard might not be such a big problem, but I mean, if you don't know, then who is going to dig it up? Unless there's a leak or a problem, who is going to dig up their backyard to check if their pipes, if their sewage needs to be replaced? I mean,
nobody does. Right? Nobody does. We found out the hard way, right? Through a leak.
Yeah. And that's what happens with buildings. And that's what happens with buildings too. I mean, there's a leak or there's a burst of a pipe somewhere. And then if it's on the top floor and it's 20 stories tall, then most likely it's going to leak all the way down to the basement.
So much fun for all the tenants, right? so much.
No, it's
That's the difficult part with like living in apartments, right? You're kind of
yeah,
at the mercy of everybody else too, in some ways. So,
yeah,
um, so you would say that's one of the biggest pain points is just the decay of buildings, that they're just older and things
yes,
need to be replaced. Okay. And
yeah.
so can you give one tip for us right now for how to either prevent and or start looking at how you're going to cut costs right now for issues like that?
Yes, I can.
I'm
So
excited.
if you go to the basement or the stairwells in your apartment building, and the lights are on 24/7, that means that they're wasting money and they're not proactive.
Okay.
Because I'm sure that you've heard about sensors, motion sensors. You know, when you walk into a room and the light comes on. Well, basements and stairwells are unoccupied 90% of the time. So even if they change them to LED, that's a good thing, right? So we went from 100 watts per fixture to 20 for, yeah. So that's good. But even if you're 20, there's no reason to have it on 24/7. So that is one area where we always see if the board are they proactive? Do they have sensors, or are they on always?
Amazing. Oh,
Oh, look
Justin,
at
my friend.
yes,
He said all of his bathrooms have motion sensors. Yes. I love
very
it.
cool. I don't have motion sensors in my apartment because I turn the lights on and off. But
Well, yeah, I don't have
yeah.
motion sensors either. I'm not as cool as Justin.
But I have to say, Justin, I like that. And I have actually decided that the next time around that I renovate my bathroom, I am planning on installing them.
I bought some cheap ones from Amazon and tried to like stick them underneath my kitchen cabinets, and it was funny. It was they were sensor lights that every time I went to like cut something, it would turn on. And then every time, but they never turned on when I just like walked in the room, which is what I was hoping for. It was more of like if my arm went under the cabinet space, it would turn on, and then they would run out of battery because they were solar ran for a while. Anyway, it's, I'm boring you now.
Yeah, so solar run lamps are not ideal under the kitchen cabinets. Here's a tip for you.
Okay. And then Justin said, do it, install it. It's easy. YouTube it. Okay. We're convinced.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's your Tina, go on.
Yeah, I know, Justin. We have actually in my own apartment, which I'm standing in right now, we have reduced our own electrical use by 50% since 2019 when I started tracking it. And we thought that we were energy efficient in 2019 because we had replaced all of our light fixtures. I have no idea what we've done, but for some reason we're using 50% less electricity. And I'm good with that. I don't have a problem with that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So is there anything else, Tina, that you can share with us about you, the work you do with the Folson Group, you as a speaker, what you're hoping to do next, anything that you want to share with us that you feel it would be helpful?
What are we doing with the Folson Group? Well, we're consulting boards and helping them take their building from only taking care of emergencies to helping them set out the system so that they are more proactive, so we help them with certain projects so that they can work on the projects that are emergencies, and then over time will be at where they feel that they're not so stressed because not everything is an emergency. So that's basically what we do and how we operate.
I love it.
And
go ahead. I'm sorry, Tina.
And then when it comes to speaking, well, my goal this year is to be on 100 podcasts. And initially, I wanted to do that to practice speaking. And now it's turned into perfecting how I speak. I don't know how perfect it is today. But, and and just make me more comfortable speaking, with the goal to eventually be on stages.
That's brilliant. And how many podcasts have you done so far?
I think I'm at 70.
You're at 70. Do you listen to all of them after you've been on them?
I
You
do.
play? You do. And then are you making adjustments based off of what you heard on that podcast for yourself for the next time? Yeah.
Yes, I have a very good speaking coach.
You do. She's pretty awesome. Huh? She can hear a number. I might call her. Well, I want to say that I mean, I've known you now for 2 years, and you've done an incredible job, and you've come quite the distance, and it's really inspiring. And I really like too that you're doing this speak event next Wednesday, and that you're going to get up on the stage and you're going to tell your story. And what I've noticed a shift in you, Tina, from when we first started working together, is that you are now allowing yourself to be a little bit more vulnerable, and you're allowing yourself to share some of those feelings that come with some of these experiences that you've had in the past, which is really amazing. And it's really changing how you show up, not just because you've done 70 podcasts, but how you show up at networking events, how you show up on stage. And it's very inspiring. So I want to say thank you for putting in all the work, because it's not an overnight thing, as you well know, to become a better speaker. It's not a quick fix. It takes work.
Takes a lot of work. But first, can I say hi, Lena? Hello.
Hi, Lena. Yes.
Her name is Lena, but I told Lena many years ago, when I first met her, I said, listen, my aunt in Sweden, her name is Lena. So if you don't mind, I might mispronounce it. She said, oh, I love the way you say it. So just continue to say it that way. So that's why I say it that way. And in case anybody wondered.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's kind of, you said it so well the other day when I listened to one of your many things that I listened to, that if you're a violinist, you're not gonna practice a few times and then show up at the performance, right? You're gonna practice. And I never realized that. I thought that people were naturally good speakers and they just showed it. They read the script and they showed up on stage and they were good. I didn't actually realize that they probably put a lot of time and effort into it, which makes perfect sense, but I never thought about it. I think that I didn't see myself as on stages, so I didn't really think about it too much. I went like, yeah, well, these people are good at it, I'm not. That's it.
And now you can see yourself on that stage.
Yes. I have no choice. I'm going to be there on Wednesday.
You don't have any choice.
But I think that if I have the right support, then, and I feel that the support that I have is the right for me. I mean, I've tried many methods that didn't work so well. And then I trust that resource and I just go with the process. I think that's how I operate as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I come from an IKEA land where they said, step number 1, put the screw here. Step number 2. Yeah. Have you ever assembled any IKEA furniture?
Yeah, the desk I'm sitting at is an IKEA. It's just it's hard to trust it when it's missing parts, though.
I know. You're not
no,
the only one.
What I heard you say, that I always thought, I'm totally digressing, but I always thought it would be really funny. This is just my sense of humor, to watch 2 people on stage improvising while building IKEA furniture. So if you're the audience member and you have a desk that you need to have put together, you just bring it in the box and 2 improvisers build it. That's the whole show. And then improvise while they're putting your IKEA desk together. So if anyone wants to do that show with me sometime, I'm game. I'm always game. Justin, are you going to come to New York and do that show with me? So Justin and I, by the way, did a show on bikes. on stage together, just FYI, at one point,
Bikes.
way back in the day. Bikes, yeah.
Bikes.
We had our road bikes on trainers on stage, and we called it Sweat. It was a fantastic show. Yes, it was, Justin. So you should come here and do the IKEA show with me. So Tina, before we part ways, because I'm going to see you later today for Confidently Speaking, which is improv for speakers. Yes. And that's the membership program that I put together a couple of years ago that you are a member of. And so appreciate you and all of the support and growth that I've seen throughout the last couple of years. And we're going to do that today at 4 p.m. So I get to see you. But before we part ways, I want to just share with our audience again, the people who are watching, that you are going to be on stage next week on Wednesday at the Laurie Beachman Theater for Speak Events, where people are sharing ideas and stories. And all of those ideas and stories are inspired by the theme shelter. And you will be presenting your story inspired by that theme. So if people want to get their tickets, I will leave that link in the comments here on LinkedIn and on YouTube and all the places that we are broadcasting right now. And I hope that you will come join us, because it is going to be a very moving evening of storytelling. And Tina, please connect with her. What?
I was going to say, and don't forget that from 5:30 to, it starts at 6:30, but from 5:30 to 6:30, there will be music and entertainment and networking. And I'm assuming bar and drinks and everything will, or food and everything will be open. So show up early if you can, 5:30.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, show up early. And yes, Justin's booking his flight now. We will be doing that show, improvising your IKEA furniture. And Tina, thank you. Please connect with her on LinkedIn if you're not already. And thank you for being here to support Confidently Speaking and this live conversation with Tina. All right.
Thank you, Meredith. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.